Farm4Profit podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm4Profit podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm4Profit podcast.
Gentlemen, we're going to need, what is that, the green stuff that you put on your sunburns? What is that called?
Aloe vera.
Aloe vera. We're going to need some of that after this awesome tour that we had today. We are three men from Iowa that don't get to see a lot of sun this time of year. And here we are down in Texas.
I just want to say my mom was right. She was telling me I should have brought sunscreen. I'm like, Mom, I'm not going to be outside long enough to get it. And we have spent the better part of the day today outside. And
I don't care. That was so worth it. And now we're going to get the story behind the tour that we just got so you listeners can get a little bit of a taste for what we had going on. Corey, you ready to introduce our guest?
Let's go.
We're not in our studio today.
This is better than our studio.
Yeah.
All right. You got a beat that's going to drop?
It's getting ready. It's about what you're going to get.
Oh, it gets better here. Today on the Farm4Fun show, we are in person on site somewhere south of Houston, Texas with a friend of ours we have followed for a long time on the socials. This man's a military veteran, an educator, a fifth-generation farmer where him and his family farm fruits, vegetables, Christmas trees, offer year-round agritourism opportunities, and even, what kind of pigs are those? Coon pigs.
Coon.
And that might be a top secret. So maybe we should edit that out. Besides the on-farm education, how does this one man reach so many consumers? He leverages the power of social media, where he has almost 50,000 subs on YouTube, 178,000 followers on Instagram, 232,000 followers on Facebook, and 788,000 followers on TikTok. Please welcome, and thanks for such hospitality, Mr. Tyler Froberg, a.k.a. Farmer Froberg of Froberg Farms.
Yes.
How many times can I say Froberg?
Well, you
because they
got to
have it on everything.
It is literally, I killed that as quickly as I could. No, it is. They're literally, don't have to worry about spelling your last name.
No, we put our
it.
name on everything.
Yeah.
Y'all, first off, y'all make it sound way cooler than it actually
I don't think so. I don't know if his introduction did it justice.
Oh,
Yes,
man,
man,
come on,
we've
guys. Come on.
I don't think we've seen the whole thing either, but we've been out for at least half a day on the side-by-side, romping around. Oh, I didn't mention chickens either, or did I? I can't remember, but my gosh.
all the things.
You know, the name has to be everywhere, probably because everyone used to use checks, so everyone was probably writing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, guys, can I just say, first off, I've been on podcasts before, but this is the first time anyone's ever come to the farm for me to be on a podcast. And this is definitely the first time a podcast has been recorded in our farm store, like 100%.
We like first. We've done first. We're probably the only podcast that's ever been recorded on a train.
On a train. Moving train.
Yes.
Yeah, moving train. We're going to go for an airplane next. I bet that's been done, probably.
Sure.
But
yeah.
In the bar, but not just a bar.
The distillery.
The distillery.
Yeah.
Yep.
We like going places because it gives us the experience. Selfishly, we got to see everything that you do down here, and that was a lot of fun to us.
Yep.
We know we're going to be confined inside of the Commodity Classic venue for the next 3 days, which is going to be equally awesome, just a different awesome.
And listeners, we had a heck of an experience that you are just going to have to listen to. But for the past hours, we have been touring the farm down here in Texas, and wow.
But guess what? If they go to his YouTube channel or they go to his TikTok, they're going to pretty much see a lot of what we saw today.
Yeah, not the
highlight reel.
Yeah, here's the selfish plug here. I do a monthly complete farm tour, kind of like I took y'all on today on my YouTube page every month. Yeah,
that is.
So okay. Selfish plug.
We jumped into this way too quickly because we already know who you are.
Yep.
How do you introduce yourself to somebody?
That's a really good question, and I think I like to keep it simple. Although y'all learned today I can be long-winded if I really like what we're talking about. My name is Tyler Froberg, and I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
That's.
There's no shortage of passion.
That I try, man. I try. It's become a problem because, as you can see, there's lots of different revenue streams here on the farm, and so like becoming super passionate and like not giving thought into the projects, just being like, yeah, we're gonna raise chickens now. Yeah, we're gonna do Christmas trees now. Let's do that. We should do that
because this is not corn and soybeans.
This is not. We're not.
But there is corn and soybeans around here, right?
There's a little bit of corn, not as much soybean, and a lot of rice.
All right.
And then as we go west, of course, cotton.
Because this is, I said it somewhere south of Houston, but this is Alvin, Texas.
Alvin, Texas.
Yep.
You're about 30 miles from the Texas Gulf Coast.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize we were
Yeah.
that close.
We are that close to the. In fact, when my uncle called me when we were out there earlier, they went to Galveston for lunch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're that close.
Were they like, are you coming? Or
Yeah.
Nah, my
You
Iowa
should.
friends are here.
Yeah.
So you-
they still haven't left yet.
Yeah.
I thought you were from Nebraska.
Oh.
Oh, that was for you, Noah. That was for you,
He
Noah.
planted that one. It's a good thing that we have the editing ability.
Oh, man, they got me.
So you got you said farmer, but tell our listeners a little bit more. There's more than farmer there. Where'd you go to school? How's your family? And how'd you become fifth generation?
Okay, so I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, although
It's
this
your
is the
podcast.
longest story ever. So, great-great-grandpa came over in the 1890s, started farming strawberries in Alvin. There was a demand for diversified fruits because of a canning factory here in Alvin. From there, great-grandpa bought the current farm in Alvin in 1936. That brings us to present day where, the farm went through U-Pick and wholesaling and all of these different things. Young Tyler was an FFA member, passionate about agriculture at a young age, and I knew I wanted to go to college, but I knew that a fruit and vegetable farm family probably couldn't pay for it.
Yep.
And so I decided to join the U.S. military. I joined the Army, served
Awesome.
4 years, and once I got out, I was like, okay, it's time to farm. Like, it's time to do this. Came back to the farm, worked about a year, and then realized that I really wanted to get my degree. Like, I had my GI Bill, and I really want, and maybe for some guys on the farm, it's not for them, and maybe it sounds silly, but I felt like I already had it paid for, and that was my original goal, so I should do that. Very hard to do that in 4 years and work 7 days a week, 360 days a year on the farm, and so I decided I'm going to leave the
And-
farm for a little bit.
You had a kid.
I had a kid during that time. I always leave this part out because it's not relevant to the story, but I actually worked on a sheep farm in Washington after I got out of the Army for a little bit before I came back home. Just had the opportunity, and I love the critters. It's something that I brought back to the family farm, just as like a side passion, But so I left the family farm and started school. I finished in 4 years and got my bachelor's from Texas Tech University in horticulture. After that, I thought, well, I have the degree. FFA played a big part in my life. My ag teachers played a big part in my life. And I thought, I always compare it to being in the Army because they say the biggest honor in the Army is to be a drill sergeant because you get to make new soldiers. And I kind of equated that to being an ag teacher. Like the biggest honor that you could have in the ag industry is making people who are going to be in the ag industry,
Sure.
right?
Right.
And I did that for a year.
Got tired of yelling at kids?
Yeah, I really did love it. I loved it, and it was everything that I thought it was going to be. Every job has its ups and downs and perks. Anytime you punch the clock, right? But from that came an opportunity. I got recruited to go run a nonprofit farm that trained military veterans to be fruit and vegetable farmers. This was a grant through the Ag Vet program in the USDA. And so when I got this recruitment letter, I kind of thought it was a joke or like a sales call. And I'm like, no, this was in like January of that year. Well, I got another call in like May. And they're like, hey, you're a teacher. You're about to be out for the summer. Ag teachers don't get summers here, but you're about to be out for the summer. Just come to the farm and look. So I'm like, this is a real thing. Like, this can't be a real job description. So I go, it's legit. So I spend the next 3 years of my life running on this grant, running this little fruit and vegetable farm. We did mainly marketed to restaurants and CSA, which is like a monthly or weekly subscription box.
Community-supported agriculture.
That's right.
Yep.
Usually it takes the form in a subscription box,
Yep.
which we did a weekly subscription box, all while teaching and training fellow veterans to grow fruits and vegetables. It was an awesome 3 years. The grant ran out and didn't get renewed. So I just kind of had some thinking to do. And I thought, you know what? I think it's time to go back home. And so here we are. So my wife and I spend our day running I of course work every day with my Uncle Alfred, who y'all met earlier.
Yeah.
And just running the day of our extremely diversified operations. We raise everything from strawberries and okra and watermelon and eggs and pork and sell it all direct to consumer, all while driving that market utilizing agritourism as the vector.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tuesday today, right?
Yep.
It was like 9:30, 10 o'clock when we rolled in here, and I thought it was busy. Like, half the parking lot out here was full. People were out in the fields. I thought for a Tuesday that was big, and you're like, that's kind of slow.
Well, you guys have a full grocery store here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
full
sure.
to describe it. Not full grocery. I mean, you're not hitting your big bags of potato chips and your cereal, and you're not.
No.
This is the produce section of a grocery
Yes.
store.
That's how we like to think of it. So not everything that is in the store here is grown here. For a very long time, we were the grocery store for our part of Alvin. There was no grocery store here, and so we were the grocery store. So we would sell our produce as well as bring in supplemental produce to help complement that. Our added value products like pies and jellies and jams, honey, all sorts of stuff.
Man, we had a fried pie. What do you call those?
The fried pie.
Fried
yeah,
pie?
fried pie.
Oh, I had a strawberry. And you said it was made with strawberries from this farm.
Yeah.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
the eggs.
Yep, and the eggs.
And the
They
eggs.
made the-
Oh,
yep.
my gosh. So good. What'd you have?
I had the peach one.
Dave had a chocolate. They don't grow cocoa here.
No, or peaches.
Or
but,
peaches.
but the strawberries were ours. So yeah, and so we've have realized the value in added value. So added value is everything from the agritourism to the bakery
Yep.
to the gift shop, right? If we could put our name on something, we're adding value to our farm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you said you weren't always you-pick. You used to sell to, I would say, a wholesaler or somewhere in
Yes.
the middle.
Correct. Now we have always been U-Pick, but in the past we did both.
Okay.
We
I gotcha.
we did U-Pick and wholesaled.
Yeah, because since World War II, right?
Correct.
You've been U-Pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
So great grandpa's all of his help got drafted in World War II, and not knowing what to do, he took an ad out in the Houston Chronicle that said, "Come out and pick your own produce. We don't know what to do." And the people came, and he realized this might be a thing. Like, this might be a real thing. So U-Pick has always happened in various shapes, ways, and forms since then, but it's definitely grown tremendously in the last 10 years. But back to the wholesale question. We don't wholesale. We wholesale 0% of what we raise here on the farm. Everything is retailed from our retail location.
That's great. That's
is
the
great.
way to build a more viable business.
Agreed. We got really tired. We got tired of competing. That's the best way, because that's what you're doing. At least in the produce world, you're
Yep.
competing. You're competing with every other region of produce that's out there. And while that's fantastic, and we need that, we need a diversified food system. We realized it just wasn't for us anymore.
It becomes a commodity, and then that's
Becomes
the
a
cheapest
commodity.
price. The cheapest, fastest way to the cheapest
That's right.
price.
Quality has nothing to do with it at that point.
Right.
So owning your own business here or being part of the business, we're in Texas. It's awful nice weather today. What do you work every day?
7 days a week, about 360 days a year.
There's no off time.
There's not, and there's a reason for that. First off, is we're a retail location, right? And you hear about farm stands. Oh, we're only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because
Okay.
those are busy days and stuff like that. If you're going, it takes time, and believe me, it takes time. But if you're gonna really build a customer base that relies on you, they have to truly be able to rely on you. You know?
I mean, I did. I saw it looked like a mother-son walk in, and they checked your produce area. Like, this is something they come out to on a regular basis.
That's
This is
it.
where we wanted to come and get. Well, I got to taste for the first time. What'd you call that? When you're cooked, there's collard greens. But what did I have?
Oh, mustard greens.
Mustard
Mustard
greens.
greens.
Yes.
Yes.
I had that for the first time.
Yeah, so a big part of what we grow is pretty stereotypical Southern food, like okra, mustard greens, collard greens, turnip greens. That's a big part of what we grow, but that's what people here eat. And that's our, they can get an apple anywhere. And while we do have apples here in the store, we want to make sure that what we're growing is stuff that they may not be able to find everywhere else.
So when we showed up, we got to meet the queen of strawberries, Grandma.
That's right.
She had strawberry socks on.
Yeah.
And a strawberry
Strawberry
looking hat.
earrings.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we met your uncle,
Yes.
and we've heard you talk about your wife,
Yes.
but we haven't heard you talk about your parents.
Yeah, so my parents are not involved with the farm. I think my dad probably did at one point in his life, but they have other hopes and dreams and aspirations. Really, the rest of our family has other hopes and dreams
Okay.
and aspirations. As of right now, it's just myself and my uncle and my wife.
So where did you draw that passion for this from?
I think some people, maybe this sounds corny. Maybe it sounds corny, or maybe it sounds too philosophical. But like, I truly believe that I was born with it. Like, I woke. The old stereotype of like, well, I was born on the farm, so I want to leave it. Like,
Yeah.
I just never got that feeling. I always, while I did leave because I knew I should, I came back because I knew that's what I wanted.
And that's an interesting dynamic. We've talked to a lot of guests over the history of this podcast, and a lot are family farmers. And it's dad to son or daughter to, from grandpa to pass along. But you don't see and hear very often of nephews and uncles working together.
Yeah.
When you do, it's kind of, you want to ask the question, like, how does that work?
Yeah.
You know,
You can
because
ask the question. I'm okay with
There
that.
is, well, I mean, we're just, in our
Yeah.
region, we think of that as like, what a headache, trying to, because we always talk about
Sure.
farm succession and all that kind of stuff. Like, how do you sort all that out? But what is the dynamic of this farm? You're working with your uncle,
Sure.
and then who else?
So to back up, that's a conversation we have here, because I believe that, like, family farms like us, which we would call a truck farm, right?
Yep.
Most of them did not fail because of the inability to make money. A lot of them failed because the farm got split 7 ways every 30 years.
Yep.
And that, if someone had a nephew or a cousin or something that really wanted to farm, they weren't going to get the opportunity. And so there was a unique opportunity here where when my grandpa passed away, my uncle did get the entirety of the farm because he was going to farm it. And so, that we've had the conversation where that's our hopes and dreams, is to make sure the farm continues on, and that's what we're going to do. And I actually heard, and I feel bad, I can't remember whose podcast it was. It might have been y'all's podcast.
Well, I'm
to be
sure it
honest with
was.
you.
If it was something smart.
So
If it was dumb, definitely wasn't ours.
where they were a financial advisor of some sort when it came to like legacy planning,
Yep.
and they said have the tough conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
That's
sure,
probably
I'm
a
sure
lane.
it was ours.
I cannot stress that enough. Just have the worst that's going to happen is the answer is no. And if you're in that situation where you're not going to be on the receiving end, then hey, like, as much as you love this, it's time to go.
Yeah.
You need to go start paving your own path, because it's not in the cards for you, and you just have to accept that. But have the tough conversation, because the answer might be, I hadn't thought about it. I've just been focused on today.
Yep.
I will say, in my observations, and we haven't been here very long, and the interactions that I've witnessed with you and your uncle are very respectful in both ways. First you introduced us right away to Grandma. Great, fantastic. But your uncle came in, and it wasn't like he barged into our conversation. He waited patiently. You provided a very quality introduction. You had a quick exchange of words that let each other know where and what you were going to be doing.
Yes.
And then when you answered the phone, when he called you, you said, yes, sir. Or
Of
hello,
course.
sir. I mean, it was very respectful.
We're in Texas, man.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of relationships that
Yeah.
the listeners are in right now, and that doesn't happen.
So I'll get into the nitty gritty, and I normally don't do this on any of my social media channels. My uncle and I are partners. However, he's my uncle, and I will respect that man. That man has forgotten more about farming than I could ever learn, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm sure most people in my situation probably feel that way. And so I feel like he took the farm to a point where it is sustainable, and the farm is able to keep going, and there is a level of respect that is deserved, in my opinion. And so I don't care if I'm 60 and he's 90. It will always be, yes, sir. What do you think about this? Let me get your opinion on this. Can I have you help me with this? Forever. That's just my opinion on it. And I feel like if anyone is in my situation in this, where they have an uncle or maybe a great uncle or a cousin who's farming and they really want to get into it, you have to approach it in that situation because it's theirs.
So just like when you set up for your store, I'm sure that you look for reviews and feedback from all your clients, and that's some way that
100%.
you get better. So we always like to ask our listeners for a review. So
love that.
we try to patronize them. We tell them all the time they can leave 5 stars and then type whatever they
Whatever
want.
they want.
As long as
Right.
they leave the 5 stars.
And they do.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. This one came from Spotify. This came from Chelsea. And she says, great podcast. Anyone who owns or works in a family business needs to listen to this. This isn't just for farmers. Great sage advice with great analogies that hit home.
What's
that?
sage?
Yeah, what's
advice?
sage?
That's like
It's a herb.
solid.
I hope it is.
Yeah,
I had
sage.
I
to,
thought it was an herb.
it took me
I
a
thought
little
it was an
while to
herb.
figure out that this was in analogies.
Oh,
I bet Chelsea's from Texas.
Oh,
I've
there
heard
we go.
that before.
That's
Yeah.
probably right.
So if I can let's just like added respect to the feedback and being accepting of it. Like, we post on on the farm's social media like once a week of, hey guys, what's something we could do better? Or what's your favorite thing that we do that we could do better? What is a pie flavor that we don't have? Right? Not always asking what your favorite thing is, but hey guys, what's your least favorite thing about what we do? And I think anybody who has a customer that comes to their location could ask that.
Yep.
And be willing to accept that feedback.
And you can't appreciate the people for taking the time enough for doing this, because it drives everything forward, whether you're a podcast or you're running a family business or it's anything outside of the realm. That's what people read. You look up a product on Amazon and you look up your reviews, and you have the same type of feedback on everything else that you buy. So it is really key, and we appreciate all of our listeners for
Absolutely.
doing
Uncle Alfred just walked in and he's looking, laughing at it.
that. That's good. Hey, if he gets any closer, we'll put a headset on.
Yeah, come on, man.
So when he took over the farm, was it this scale? Did you have the agritourism and all the crops you're growing now?
Oh no. So when Grandpa died in 2002, this store was not here. In fact, where our playground is now, yes, we have a playground on the farm, was my grandpa's, we called it the tree stand. It was literally what you think of as an old school farm stand. Couple pieces of tin, some shelves. Hey guys, we got greens today. Who's coming?
Yep.
When he died, though, my uncle just had this vision of we could take this to the next level. If we build a brick and mortar and we create a location that people, they already recognize our name, people are already familiar with us, we'll be better for it. And so that's what he did. He built the first true store here on the farm.
And you came back in what year?
I came back almost a year ago.
A year ago.
Yes, a little over a year ago.
So have you brought anything new back to the farm?
Yes, sure.
You
the
do?
livestock.
Yeah, that's social media.
So yeah, apart from the marketing and social media and stuff, our egg revenue stream with our chickens, we'll get our first round of broilers here next week. They come on the 4th.
Okay.
So as well as the pigs, and so all the livestock stuff. And then some of the agritourism stuff, this gift shop we added since I've been here, which seems so silly, but anything, if you're running a business, especially a retail business, anything you can get 100% markup on, you should do it. And people want the stuff, People want it.
Oh, Rachel bought a pig with strawberries on it.
Trying to
the
get
last one
everything.
You had. You're I don't know why people buy these. And Rachel's I want one.
So if I want to put this in perspective for our listeners, when you gave us a tour, the first thing we saw was where you have sunflowers coming up. And then you told us about the corn maze that you're going to plant. And then you took us past a row of flowers followed by strawberry onions.
Strawberry potatoes.
Yes.
And then strawberries.
And then the strawberries, which were freaking delicious.
Just taste straight out of the
I had
field.
never seen, it was almost the size of a baseball.
Bigger than your nose.
Yeah, and that's impressive.
Very
Yes.
large.
It was almost, and it was redder than it is right now too. 'Cause the sun,
Yeah, very red.
So after the strawberries, we went and we saw more onions, and then blackberries,
Figs.
and then figs. Out
Christmas trees.
Christmas trees. We went and
Chickens.
saw the chickens. We went and saw the pigs.
Hayfields.
We went, pasture hayfield, and then when we came back,
Grapes.
Grapes?
Muscadine grapes.
correct.
Equipment.
What else am I missing for crops?
I think you pretty much got it.
Watermelon.
We saw a little cabbage and some watermelon fields.
Watermelon
and a little bit
and
of mustard
pumpkins.
greens.
Sweet peas.
Sugar snap peas.
Sugar
yeah.
snap. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the ground that will be for our cow peas, so
Yep.
black-eyed
Yeah.
We
peas
need
and
like
purple
one of
Holland
the little
cream.
counters and a little ding
Yeah.
every time you
Ding,
say a
ding.
crop.
You know, we do that with our field trips. We do field trips during the school year, and they're like, we always get the question, what do we grow? And so I'm like, y'all count with me. Every time I say something, y'all
Sure.
count. And,
Yeah.
I'll say strawberry, 1.
Yeah.
Blackberries,
That's
2.
exactly how it
Yeah.
goes. That's pretty cool. And it is fun to come out here and see. We didn't know what to expect, right? We
Sure.
showed up in the morning. We exchanged a couple of texts. We watched your stuff on social media. But the tour was awesome.
We didn't do a top
Thanks,
5.
guys.
We need to do a
Oh,
top
Haven't done
we
the
still
top
gotta
five. That was
film.
one of my biggest questions was how long does Noah spend here
Yeah, that's,
when he comes?
that's funny.
Because he's like, last time he was only here for 4 hours. I'm like, you guys have like 30 different TikToks. Like, you got to have an itinerary.
That is all Noah. Like I said on the tour, that is all Noah, guys. I've been so lucky to have people, Caroline, Texas farmer,
Yeah.
Ag with Emma, Noah. I've gotten the opportunity, and I think kind of the same thing that y'all said was like, because I don't show, except on my YouTube, like on my short stuff, I really don't show a lot of the farm. I do more like education and stuff. I really don't show a lot of the farm, so people don't. That's what most people are familiar with, so they have no idea what to expect. So I always appreciate people getting at least a little bit of joy out.
Yeah, I think you were surprised. I can't remember what I was asking you, but I asked a question within
the sprayer.
Was it? It was something. Oh no, it was about the length of the vine for the grapes.
Oh,
or no, blackberries. How long
Yes.
a blackberry vine was good for? And
Yep.
you go, I don't get to tell people this very often.
yeah. People don't ask how many years you can grow that. People just assume it's just going to be there forever.
Yeah.
But you're doing a unique thing. You're bridging that gap between agriculture and consumer because your number one client is a consumer.
That's
It's
right.
The soccer mom. It's the whatever you want to call it.
100%.
But your content reaches that vast audience too.
I hope so. We're so blessed to be able to do it at somewhat of a scale. We're certainly not the largest farm anywhere.
Could be.
But
You could expand.
we could expand.
franchise
Yeah,
other
franchise.
places.
other-
Oh, I was
Robert's
going to
Farm
put that in
too,
my
going.
my intro. Largest fig farmer in Texas.
Yeah, we're going to be.
Future.
Once it's there.
The Fig King.
I mentioned that, my uncle was the largest strawberry farmer in Texas for a number of years until he scaled way back. But, 15 acres of strawberries is still,
A lot.
in terms of strawberry talks, it doesn't sound like a lot if you're raising soybeans or corn or cows or anything like that. But in the strawberry world, that's a lot.
Because you said there's
15,000 plants an acre. How
Yep.
many acres?
That's about 15 acres.
Okay, so
so
times
15 times
15.
15.
300,000.
times 3 pounds a plant.
Times 3 pounds of plants.
So over 500,675,000 pounds of strawberries.
Pounds of strawberries. That's our goal. That's the target.
And that's fascinating because when you said there's about 400 acres in Texas, of strawberries,
Yes.
and you've got at one point you
At
had
one point, we
10%
had 10%
of the market.
it. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Now we have, 5%?
Yeah, it still is a feat because you were describing what it takes to grow strawberries. So go through the process of that for our listeners. From when you've got bare dirt.
Yes. Bare dirt. So
and only hit on the parts that
yeah. So it starts in July, basically July 15th-ish, when we harvest the purple hull pea crop that we have on that strawberry ground. And then the work starts. We start disking, working the ground, and getting it to a workable stance. After that, we wait for moisture. We only have about a 45-day window to get that moisture. And last year, we didn't get that moisture. We did, for the first time that I could ever remember, had to essentially flood the furrows and then bed that moisture up. But if we do get moisture, we then will bed the field up. So for anybody listening, you're using basically hippers, and you're going to create as tall of a row as you can. After that, we will press it, and we will press those strawberry rows as many times as possible because we want to capture as much moisture as we can.
That seals the moisture.
That
in.
just locks that moisture in. And
creates
so you'll
a
get
smooth look, right?
It does create a real smooth look, and you get a little crust on the top, which really helps hold that moisture in. And then we do gas the ground. So we have a press that lays the drip irrigation line, and we'll gas or fumigate is the appropriate term. I apologize. We're used to. On
That's
the farm,
for to kill diseases and nematodes and all that kind of stuff.
nematodes is the big thing.
Yep.
And then we'll lay the plastic. And that plastic, we always like to say, it reduces our herbicide use by 99%, essentially.
Yeah.
And to add to some other benefit, you get some moisture retention from it. You
mentioned
really
heat,
the
temperature.
heat. That's one of the most important things. We plant strawberries in October. And so those strawberries have very cool days ahead of them, even here in Southeast Texas. But we have clear days. And on those clear days, even if it's 40 degrees outside, that bed could be 85 degrees if it's a beautiful clear day and that sun's just beating down on it.
Right.
So that fumigant has to sit for about 21 days before we could plant. And so we like to let it go a little longer than that. But around the 21-day mark, our plants will show up. They show up from Canada and California normally. Those were the most reliable strawberry nurseries are, which we always like when the Canada trucks get here because they got funny accents.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. And so we plant two different types of plants in terms of physiological state, not varieties. We plant way more varieties than that, but we plant bare root and we plant plugs. Plugs, if If you've ever gone to a garden center, that's exactly what you're thinking of. Picture a tray of plants with dirts around the root. Bare root is not what you're thinking of. Bare root looks like a dead plant.
Yep.
It's no leaves on the top.
So
just
it looks like
roots
a bare root.
It looks like a bare root. And so we plant those by hands. We use a dibble wheel, and we punch those holes into the plastic.
Which you
and then begin
described
to
for
plant.
us, a dibble wheel looks like a pirate ship steering wheel.
Yes. Yes, running instead of doing it
Opposite.
Yeah, it would run
Parallel.
opposite. It would run parallel
There
with
we
the
go.
row and not perpendicular.
Yarr.
Thank you for that. Arr, yeah. And so now this process is very important. We have a strawberry dipper dipping the strawberry plants. It's usually Uncle Alfred.
In chocolate.
And chocolate, of course. That's how we get those perfect.
Got
Only
it.
a portion of the field.
Only a
dipped in
portion of
chocolate.
the get the chocolate ones.
No, it's we have a little fungicide in there, maybe something for mites as well as like a root stimulant, and then we have a setter. Those setters are very important, as we talked about in the field, because they have to make sure not to get too far ahead of your planters. Planters are the most important role though, because the quickest thing to kill a strawberry plant is if it's planted incorrectly, right? Too high, too low. And I should have showed y'all out there, but we have a special stick that pokes the roots into the ground. Give it a punch. I have a video on how we do it on my socials. But and then after that, it's go time. We like to let those plants get established for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then we start our program. We work with an agronomist who builds us a really nice program for our area, for our varieties. Our favorite varieties being Camino Real and Fronteras. They seem to be the best you pick varieties. We want to bury that. It's long stems, big fruit, and not too much foliage, right? It kind of hides the berries. When people come out to pick strawberries, they want to be able to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if they're hidden under there, they'd probably just rot on the vine,
They'll
right?
just rot on the vine.
Yep.
My man's over here eating watermelon gummies.
It's not something that you grow on the farm.
That's not. No. Those are sustainably sourced. Though,
I did
don't worry.
buy them from the farm though. They were pretty good.
And so as funny as this seems though, you can find gummy blackberries over there. You can find gummy pigs. All of that, as silly as it sounds, is added value to your farm.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Kids come to the watermelon festival. Not only do they want a watermelon slice, they want watermelon.
Give a
gummies.
watermelon queen come.
We did. We had the Texas Watermelon Queen come, who single-handedly sold 50% of our watermelon. Like she talks to every customer. So while she does charge grocery stores to go, they have a pageant every year. If you're I can't speak for other states. If you're a Texas watermelon grower, they will come to your farm free of charge. And if you have a sale day or a retail day, she will help educate customers and, of course, help sell watermelon.
So are your watermelons seedless?
We grow both.
Okay.
That's a whole, man. How long do we got? How long do we got?
Well, because the age-old question, right, is
Yeah.
how do you get seeds to
It's
plant
simple.
for seedless watermelon?
It's simple. It's an F1.
Oh, it's more mixes down. Okay.
Yep, it's a hybrid, right? However, seedless watermelon are notoriously bad pollinators, right? So they're not real good at pollinating themselves, and so we have to grow a pollinator melon with it. Now, this can take the shape of 2 different ways. You can grow an old axle buster, right? A big old 40-pound melon with seeds in it. Those are really hard to sell these days, right? The average family has 4 people in it. What do they do with all that watermelon? So what we have really moved to is growing a pollinator melon. It's exactly what it sounds like. It grows an unedible melon that's about that big, but it's covered in flowers. We plant one every 4 plants, and it pollinates our seedless melons.
No kidding.
That's right.
So now you just need a larger cannon.
To shoot the pollinator melons out of. That's
out of.
right. I got to text
Next
Uncle
one.
Alfred.
Do it. But
We need
that's
to shoot
fantastic.
one.
Because like for corn, right? Seed corn, we do the same thing. We'll plant 2 rows or an extra row and knock it down, mow it over.
Yeah.
It's
Male-
not
the male
going the
plant.
male row.
Sure. There you go.
Yep.
Same thing.
I wouldn't even have thought about that for watermelon.
You guys can't cannon your corn though.
We can. We could shoot the corn. Like that's
could.
value add.
It's
Value add.
value added.
We'll just go set up a cannon that people can pay to shoot at Dave's house.
Yeah.
I always thought, because we have to destroy the male when we grow seed corn, I always thought we could have a 1-row silage harvester. Yeah, but then it's not worth the scale. It's not worth it
Sure.
for that little bit of silage.
Yeah, it doesn't put a near on.
Maybe for Ann's cows.
'Cause really you want-
keep her
Yep,
satisfied.
yep.
Yeah.
And talking to that, is there a use for this? The melon is not unedible in the sense that it will hurt you, right? It's just unmarketable and unflavorless
Yeah.
and what have you. It looks like a little baby cantaloupe. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I had watermelon at the hotel this morning. It wasn't very ripe, though. It looked nice and juicy.
So, but this goes back to our strawberry question about varietal selection, right? There's, just like there is corn, just like there is strawberries, there is hundreds, if not thousands of varieties of watermelon with lots of work being done to them to constantly improve them. We're growing fresh market watermelon. We're growing watermelon specifically grown to be marketed in a fresh market, not to ship, which in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, you get more flavor. It's sweeter. It's juicier. You get the wow factor.
Yeah.
When you hear a watermelon crack, when you crack it open, and the juice is just, it sells itself.
I mean, it was that way with the strawberry. I was like, why is it so juicy? It's just rolling down. And he's like, because it's ripe.
It's ripe.
Yeah.
It's
ripe.
You're not used to
You
that.
missed it right away when we first walked out there. Corey must have grabbed one that had fallen on the ground
Yeah.
and just chucked it at my calf.
Yeah. And it just,
Just fucking, so there's pros and cons, right? So like most people, when they go to a U-Pick strawberry farm, they're like, oh, it's going to be perfect. But like, it's still a strawberry field.
Yeah.
If you've ever been into a commercial strawberry field, as the pickers are picking, they take the bads and they just throw it in the furrow, right? We try not to do that. But like, there are bad berries in the field. It's inevitable. There's bad watermelons in the field when you go pick watermelon, you know?
Yeah.
Just part of it.
It is.
do you ever get, so you're 100% sold here. Do you ever get people that come here and like, hey, we want to sell this in our store?
Oh, of course. Yeah. We even have like peddlers will
Yeah.
come in, you know,
Yeah.
and they'll, we like to think our prices are competitive.
Right.
Just for anybody listening right now, it's 2024. Our pasture raised eggs are $3.99 a dozen. If you're in a major metropolitan area, they're $10 at your Whole Foods.
Yeah.
So like we like to think that our prices are really, really, really reasonable. And so oftentimes we will even have people buy it and go resell it somewhere else. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what? You're never going to stop that.
Absolutely.
That's any industry, though.
Any industry.
Yep.
So we do like playing games with our guests.
I like games. I'm good at games.
Are
You better
you?
watch out.
Yeah.
Well, we should have tried the new game on them. Well, we're going to play Start Bench Cut. Have you ever played
You
Start
play
Bench
it
Cut?
and we'll all play because
I've
we don't
never-
have a sheet.
I've never played. I don't. I've never
Okay,
even
so
heard of this.
we for a long time we played a game called Do, Marry, Kill. Like the
Oh,
and
yeah,
we
let's
can't,
not.
we can't do that. Our listeners told us not to do
Yeah,
that.
probably a great idea.
So
to
when you
not.
think of a sports team, you've got players that you want to start in your lineup.
Sure.
You've got a player that you want on your bench to come in as a reserve,
Yeah.
and then if there's somebody that's not as good, you cut them.
We're doing
They're
this
not
for
even on
Farm
your
Talk?
lineup. No.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you about to put me? Are you about to make me get some friends? and some
That
enemies?
would've made
That's
sense.
them,
That-
Noah.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Laura Farms. No.
Yeah. So the first three that we'll give you for choices: strawberries, pumpkins, blackberries.
Ooh.
Start, bench, cut.
Strawberries, pumpkins, blackberries. Okay, so we're starting strawberries, guys.
Okay.
You don't
Right.
grow pumpkins, right?
We
Yeah.
Or do you?
we don't grow pumpkin. We have a pumpkin patch. We bring them in, so I'm cutting
Ah.
pumpkins
You
right off the
place
bat.
them.
We place them. So
Cuts are gone.
I'm starting strawberry. This one's easy, man. I'm
Let's just
starting
start off. We
strawberries.
lobbed the first one in there.
I'm benching blackberries
Yep.
because the season's too hot, and
You're
I'm
gonna
cutting pumpkins.
cut pumpkins.
Easy.
So I'm assuming that these are the only holidays that you get off: Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. Start, bench, cut.
Ooh. Well, so first off, I have to. Oh, man.
You said the first one was easy, so I
Yeah.
went down to the fifth one in the line here.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to take this from a marketing standpoint. So we sell so many pies on the farm for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to have to start Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
right? Mustard greens, collard greens, the
I
works.
didn't even think about
right?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for a truck farmer with a bakery,
Yep.
Thanksgiving is
All day
king,
long.
right?
Yep.
I'm going to bench Christmas,
Mhm.
okay? It's still a good season for us. It's just the sales aren't as good.
We have Christmas trees.
We have Christmas trees,
Yeah.
but we only sell them up to the day before Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
All right? So I don't know. Do you count that?
Christmas
I don't know.
trees.
So then
and
you're going to cut Easter.
Easter.
Is
you
that
sell
just because
eggs.
you don't sell Easter eggs?
Well, so
Because he doesn't sell ham yet.
No,
Easter.
ham.
Let me tell you about Easter. Here's why I'm cutting Easter. It's because I actually get off Easter. And we don't do strawberry picking on Easter, even though it could probably be one of the largest
Sure.
days of the year. We're extremely strong in our faith here on the farm.
Yep.
And so we choose that day to be one of the days that we shut down, no matter how many strawberries are in the field. So from a marketing standpoint, I'm cutting Easter because
I
we're not
gotcha.
going to be open.
So back to starting Thanksgiving. What do you sell the most of pie? Is it a pumpkin pie?
Oh no, it's a pecan pie or apple or pecan. You know what? I can
What?
find out.
What is that? What kind of pie is that? Pecan.
pecan?
Pecan.
Oh, pecan pie.
I can call Brando. Over there. Brando.
That's good. All right. You know, I haven't seen dogs around here.
Nope.
Yeah,
So
there's
this
no
might-
pets. On
Food
the door.
safety, man.
This might be pretty easy. Pigs, chickens, dogs.
Oh, simple.
Start, bench, cut.
Okay, so we're going to start the chickens,
Yep.
guys. Right? We retail our eggs here at the farm. Our bakery, 100% our eggs. Our broilers are here next week for selling meat chickens. We're starting chickens. We're benching pigs just
Yeah.
because we have them. We like them.
No
They're not an
dogs.
integral part.
Yeah.
Food safety, man.
Yeah.
No dogs on the property. Can't have pet dogs. Can't have customers with dogs.
We went out. We went by this old airstrip, and there's Christmas trees on our right, airstrip on the left, and then we just go into this forest that looks like all the underbrush has been cut, and then it just looks like, I don't know, there's just sticks everywhere, and then some electric fence, and then all of a sudden these fat, low-riding, waddled pigs
low-riding.
come waddling out from underneath this trailer. And he's like, oh, those are coon
Dun,
pigs.
dun, 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 dun.
And,
So-
and he gives us, what's the grand plan?
The coon pigs.
Yes. So, we love our coonies,
That's what.
right?
Yeah.
There's several plans. One is top secret, and if I tell you, you're not leaving the farm. The other plan,
We got a
and,
lot to do. We probably need to not hear that.
and we're still workshopping this, right? But
Yeah.
like the Froberg Cooney dog, okay? Process these into hot dogs at our festival because
Oh,
every
yeah.
kid loves
you
a hot
you
dog.
have to cook them on a roller then. Because it
Oh,
has to
get
be
us a roller, like a
dog.
shish kebab roller. Okay, but get this, like with sustainability and buzzwords in mind.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
Froberg's Farm Heritage Cooney dogs.
Yeah. Pasture raised.
Pasture raised, and we
Silvopasture.
we sling.
Yeah.
I'm talking 10,000 hot dogs to every
Yeah.
one of our.
And then for the
customers.
people that don't care about any of that stuff, you have to have the gas station roller.
Guys,
Not even a
Yeah.
rotisserie,
just a roller,
Yeah.
man.
Beef Franks.
Corn
There
fed.
you go.
Corn fed.
we are
You
going to
know-
have to ship you some Iowa corn to make sure that they get finished way better than any other
Yeah.
state could provide you.
Oh, Noah talked about some Nebraska.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
right
but
now
he's
they're
not
eating Texas
Yeah.
corn.
He's not growing any Nebraska corn, though. So
No,
he's got
there's-
no.
That's true. He's
corn
got no
to
skin in
stand
the
on.
game. Yeah. You know, though, we joke about all the buzzwords and stuff, but y'all have never. We've used lots of those buzzwords, even on the farm tour today. And I noticed none of you ever asked me my opinion on those. But I'll
we don't care.
I'll be forthgiving. I'll be forthgiving on this. Okay. My opinion is we have consumers, and they have a right to think they know what words mean and buy those words.
Right.
Right? Do I think that more of those words need to have like some proper definitions, and we need to get some more around something more around these words?
Yep.
Of course. But I'm a firm believer in that. We have a consumer. That's why we sell direct to consumer, because
Yeah.
we have the ability to do it, and they have the ability to choose what they buy. And I do believe in that.
So, I mean, the one thing that we think of when we think of farms like this in our area, you wouldn't be able to walk through here without hearing organic.
Sure. You
Right.
don't hear that here.
No.
Do you have anyone that's asking for that, or
We do. We find that the draw is us,
yeah?
right?
I was going to say, it says family farm.
It's the story. Now, do we get the question a lot? Hey, are these organic? No, they're not.
But they're
And they
close
say,
enough.
And they say, oh, okay, right? And that's typically the conversation.
Right.
Now, I can oftentimes go down the rabbit hole with anyone who wants to, and it often involves education on the sustainable practices we do use, like drip irrigation and the plastic to reduce our herbicide use. But then I go right into it about how everything we have in our tool belt is a tool, and it helps us be better farmers. And it helps us grow those delicious strawberries that you just bit into.
Yep.
Yeah, we had an interview just a couple weeks ago that he doesn't mind the word sustainable when it's tied to agriculture, but he defines it completely different than what the government's defining it and what the consumers define
So
it.
before you say what he said, let me just say, the first thing on the list for sustainability has to be financially sustainable.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
He said, I need to make sure that my farm will
We'll be here
sustain
next
for
year.
the next generation.
That's
yeah,
right.
for the next year. I need
If-
1 year, 10 years, next generation. If I can't do it sustainably for that,
100%.
nothing else matters.
It's got to be financially sustainable. It just comes down to it. And you know, as farmers, that's probably one of the things that most of us are really bad at. Not managing the farm, not like going broke. Well, not
Yeah,
everybody. you know. But like
That's why we
being
do
actually
Farm4Fun shows.
but like being actually hands-on involved with the management of the money.
Yep.
And like if you immerse yourself in the management of the funds of the farm,
Yep.
then you will become more financially sustainable in the field.
So,
100%.
Does your wife do all that?
We do it together.
Okay.
We do all of that together. It's very important, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
I got to see her office, and what was her name?
Christy.
Christine needs an upgrade.
Christy. So, Mrs. Froberg also manages our online store, and so her office doubles as the shipping area. Poor girl. She's the best, guys. When I say, like, I don't mean to, I got to take 2 minutes here, okay? When I say that I got lucky with my wife, I know that there's a lot of guys who don't feel that way, but, like, I hit the jackpot, guys. When we met, I was picking strawberries for my uncle, and she was an assistant principal at this school district. So, like, there was a big gap here, and like I was a solid 2, and she was a solid 12, man. And here we are, man. She's an incredible mom. She 17 years of the school district said, you know what? I'm gonna come onto the farm, and we're gonna do this together. And never complained about it. Just literally took the bulls by the horn and said, let's do this thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I am 32.
Wow.
All kinds of youngin'.
What are you manning
Yeah.
about?
How are y'all
crazy.
not? Y'all aren't around my age? I figured y'all were
35.
around my age. Yeah.
35.
Yeah. Y'all
Dave's
are.
old. He's like
Dave's old.
40.
They said I fell asleep last night on the couch
He
or
did?
something.
You look like you
He
probably
did.
fell asleep.
We're having a conversation with him, and all of a sudden, Dave just
I was just checking
Dave.
for leaks in my eyelids, as my dad would say.
Dave's
I love
asleep.
it.
I'm curious just because, I mean, I run a farm, but it's obviously, it's a row crop farm, typical Midwest, corn, soybeans, hogs. And then I come down and see this, and there's a lot of acres and a lot of different crops. How do you manage? How do you decide when this crop's going there or when we're going to plant this? Or like, do you guys
So
have meetings?
this
or what?
goes back to the very beginning where we talked. You mentioned how I was so respectful to my uncle. My uncle and I do all of that together. We sit at that table right there. If you're listening, our grocery store has like a little
a booth.
picnic area. It's a booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little. This actually came out of the gas station down the corner when they remodeled it.
Yeah.
We sit right there and we have like a 1 hour meeting, right? And we just plan the day. We talk about what we're going to do. And so as an example, because of that, we also take ride-arounds. We do like 2 ride-arounds a day. Some people are like, what are y'all really
Oh,
doing?
see, your tour with us was actually
Yeah.
It was just a ride-around.
No,
yeah.
we were switching water.
But as an example, right, we laid plastic yesterday,
Yep.
which is, we talked about this. It needs to be efficient. It needs to be quick. If there's a hang up, it ruins everything, and we only have so many hours to do it. I'm on the lead tractor. I know going into it, we didn't even talk about what we were going to lay plastic for that morning. I already knew because of the day before, right? So we're able to get all the equipment ready. Well, I'm going ahead because I'm on the first tractor. I don't have to stop and ask him, hey, where am I headed next? Am I going to the squash? Am I going to the tomatoes? Am I going to the watermelon? Where am I headed next? We already talked about that the day before. And so that open line of communication, it just creates efficiencies.
Yep. That's what
you-
they say.
And you don't use any GPS, you said.
No.
But
Man,
you're
there ain't
look-
nothing like,
you're
you
look-
see those tractors?
You're looking for a GPS sponsor for
you
your
guys on
farm.
that.
Any GPS sponsor looking to
Yeah.
sponsor for
Yeah.
West Farm, and our address is
Johnny
Make those
Right.
strawberry rows perfectly
Yes.
straight.
Hey, don't be hating on my strawberry
They
rows
were
now. That
good.
was done
They-
old school, man.
They did look pretty straight, but we were in the San Joaquin Valley a couple weeks ago, and when you look down those orchard rows,
Oh,
like that is some precision
those
type stuff.
man.
'Cause
precision.
no matter which way you looked, the trees were all in a row, straight.
they gotta have. They
at
gotta
an
have
angle.
some kind of satellite or something.
Oh, it's
that does
definitely.
that.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's like you're
gotta
at.
be.
It's like when you go to Arlington, the cemetery.
Oh,
like,
yes.
and it's just every
Yes.
different way you look, they're all perfect. It's like,
It was very aesthetically pleasing. I mean, it was something I was not expecting to sit there and feel like I could just watch all day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Now
then we come here and we look at your strawberry rows, and they weren't quite like that.
Well, you know.
I have questions though. So we're on the subject of equipment, and how are we on time, guys? Are we okay?
You're good.
Okay.
we're fine.
On the subject of equipment, I always, because like Emma, obviously, like she's around much larger equipment than
Yeah.
this a lot. So I always like to gauge what were y'all's thoughts when you saw our equipment first first off the bat. Oh, I just became the interviewer, by the way.
No, I like this. I already gave you my
Dave,
answer.
Dave was probably the first one to say something about it because he sells equipment.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? And he's like, oh, man, we can never sell these Southern tractors that are faded like that.
Yep.
Yeah, y'all mentioned painting tractors, and I'm like, what are you talking about? People paint tractors?
It's the
Faded
high
paint.
crop wheels, they're narrow, and we just have a market for it. And even the small, like 10-foot wide disc, like no one uses a 10-foot disc anymore. Send that to Brazil or somewhere. They don't need it.
Send it to Alvin, man.
Yep.
I mean, I would say they're not out of the norm. Everyone has a tractor that's under 100 horse, usually.
Yeah.
Runs an auger, mows, whatever, so not out of the norm. But when you have 6 of them lined up, it's like, what are they doing with those?
What are they doing with that?
Yeah, and I pointed out a mid-mounted boom sprayer. It just was
All
kind of
custom.
All custom.
custom. Yeah.
But it was fit to the need, right? But this is also mounted on the size tractor that some of our listeners mow their front yard with.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
It was not. It was meant to spray a 4-foot wide pass
That's right.
directly underneath the operator's seat, where the belly mower would go.
Yep.
I was glad to see how much what's the word here? Mechanization, there we go, that you do have on the farm. That
course.
We've got to tour some other farms that is so hands-on. And in the Midwest,
rudimentary.
everything is mechanized to where there's less labor. But you have a labor-intensive operation. Would you say 60 employees at one time?
At one point to manage
Just to go.
everything.
And for the amount of
Or how
acres,
much
that's
less than
crazy.
that, yeah.
We need like a worker per acres average compared to you, Corey. I bet it's a
Well, it
little.
wouldn't even be close. I mean, it's you're talking about an operation that spans 100 acres, ish, plus or
Well, the
minus.
chicken farm's 100 acres.
The chicken farm's 100
Yep.
acres,
And then everything else is about 100 acres.
Yeah.
So maybe
so a
about
200-acre
200
farm,
acres.
60 employees at
Yeah.
a peak.
Yeah.
Corey,
But daily, it's not 60.
No, we're at
No.
like 8 right now.
yeah,
Yeah. Which is,
Well, that's not too
again,
bad then.
I want to preface that. Like, this is a lot for 8 people to do, guys. We
Right.
work 7 days a week, 10 to 12-hour days. And I know a lot of people listening do the same.
Yeah, but I liked how some of your equipment did 3 jobs at once.
Correct.
I mean,
efficiencies, man.
From irrigating to making the row to putting the plastic down, et cetera, et
Yes.
cetera.
Yeah, the efficiencies are the keys.
But
There can't be any wasted time here.
That's why I asked, how do you guys plan this? Because the farming is one thing.
Yeah.
Now you're running a retail store and you're hiring labor and now you're running agritourism, all that. Like, you got to have the right people helping you because you
And
can't do
that's-
it all.
That's what I was going to say. Every good leadership book, and if anyone wants references for good books on taking on a major leadership role at a young age, send me a DM. I'll send you like a list. Turn This Ship Around is the first one that I would recommend. It's by a Navy admiral who turns the worst submarine in the Navy's fleet to the best. Hands down, one of the best books any young leader should, any leader, but especially a young leader should read. But like, you have to surround yourself by people who will do a job and do it correctly. But it's your responsibility as a leader to empower them, right? So if you think of competence as a roof, one wall, you have to be able to teach them, and the other wall, they have to be able to do it, right? So it's not just all them. It has to come from you too.
Well, and that actually kind of, I hate doing this right now, but it leads right into the payoff question that we've been asking all of our guests, because we want our listeners to be able to pick up something new, a skill, a trait, a technique. And we've been asking everybody how best you learn something new. How have you figured out that you best pick up something that's brand new?
Ooh, this is multiple ways. So the first way is, and this is like super cringy maybe, but like to fail. Like the minute, and I'm not talking like, oh, like that didn't, no, I'm talking like catastrophic failures. Like you flip a tractor, you break something, like you hurt your pride. You're going to learn stuff really, really quick when your pride gets hurt. And then like taking down the arrogance and the pride and like listening to other people, and just how many times today were y'all like, hey, you should do this, and I'm like, wait, let me text my wife and tell her that because that's such a good idea. Well, like there are people out there that like you give a recommendation, and they're like, no, we probably won't do that, or that won't work, or they just ignore you.
Well, how
you
many
know?
times today did we ask a question that was probably super common sense? We had no idea. But there's no way for us to learn unless you...
Absolutely.
Like, what is mustard lettuce?
mustard,
What did you call it?
mustard greens, man.
Oh,
mustard
mustard
greens.
Okay.
Yeah, but like letting your pride down and kind of removing that arrogance factor, and just, nobody knows it all. And even someone who maybe on the outside wouldn't be the norm for a quote-unquote intelligent person, I guarantee you can learn multiple things from that type of person. Every person you meet, I believe you can learn something from.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I've got a question that I didn't ask out there, and I wanted to save it for the podcast. And
Come on.
It happened when you were talking about Christmas trees, and you get a hurricane that come in and would snap them, and you got 5 years.
Yes.
So you got probably, out of all these acres, I would say millions of dollars worth of potential.
Correct.
Right, in food. Do you have access to insurance for crop failure?
No.
No?
At least not to my knowledge.
Really?
No, we can make like our regular business insurance.
Okay.
There can be like the
Like an umbrella
the loss
policy?
of investment or
Yeah,
what have you.
yeah.
But in terms of like
Crop
crop insurance, no. It's all, if anyone's listening and knows about specialty crop insurance,
I
send
know
a DM to
the
Farmer Froberg.
USDA has some programs for fruit and
Yep.
tree.
Yeah.
Well, they said that in California when we were
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
there.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, anything. with
Yeah,
the
if
government
there
could be a
is,
little-
I don't want to misspeak. If there is, it's not something that we've utilized.
Right.
Just say it. You self-insure.
Yeah.
We know. Yeah. No.
Yeah. But
is
good
there-
question.
Is there one thing that, if strawberries went away, you couldn't, some disease came in, you can't grow strawberries anymore. Like, would the farm, not be able to be here? Or is it agritourism?
No, so we've talked about like our doomsday,
Yeah.
like where like eminent domain comes by,
Oh, yeah.
and we only have this main 15 acres. Like
Yeah.
we're rocking on with that corn maze, man.
Yeah.
We're rocking on with that corn maze. Anybody listening, if you want your farm to become anywhere close to financially sustainable, put your pride down. Start bringing people onto your farm, whether it's a corn maze or some sort of agritourism,
Yeah.
because it will allow you to sleep at night.
Yep.
Right? It will allow you to sleep at night. That extra.
As long
bit
as you
of
made
income.
sure the maze got emptied, nobody was still stuck out there.
Well,
Then you
there ain't
sleep
nothing
at night.
on my map that
I don't
guarantees you
know.
got to get out of it.
It's not that very big of a maze. I think they made it just for Noah and Nebraska people. You can just walk across it pretty easy.
Walk across.
But Noah's also pretty tall. He probably can see
Yeah,
over
he
the
can
top
see
of
over the
tassels.
top.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to make one. They have one in Montana that I've done since I was 10 years old. There's 4 stations, and you have to make it to all 4 stations and get the stamp,
Yes.
MAZE.
Oh, there you go.
So,
And then there's a time limit, and then there's a board of who makes it out the fastest.
so people tell us a lot of different fun things to do. There's like scavenger hunts and stuff.
Yeah.
Here's our fear, and we'll probably end up trying some. Is I don't know how many people run through these other ones, but like stuff does not last here. Like 100,000 people come through stuff, and it just gets torn
Has to be
apart.
durable.
Oh, yeah.
It just got to be, we went to one time in Indiana actually, and they had like these little placards, and you like took the stamp, and
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
looking at it like, how are they?
It's new every morning. You
How
just
is there
don't know
ink
that.
even still in this thing? Like, how is this not ripped out of the ground and just like chunked, hurled across the
Yep.
thing? But and I think that is learning curves, right? Like, as your agritourism operation grows, you have to learn how to deal with how people are sometimes.
That's great.
I got one. You got one. You got your big corn maze, and then off to the side, you just plant one plant, and then you put the sign up. You ever seen that? Blonde corn maze.
Yes, the blonde corn maze.
So people can take pictures by it.
Yes. So, fun fact, literally throughout the entire month of October, we put our phone number on the map, and the phone just rings all day. People wanting to get out.
Oh, that's
They're
so
like,
funny.
so I have a young man who's in high school. Now, if it's a weekday and he's not here yet, you're kind of on your own. But first day, before we even open, he goes out there,
Yeah.
he memorizes the map, and then he's the rescue guy. He just all day
How
long.
hard is it, though? Can't you just go like, okay, I hear the road over there. I know the farm's back this way. If I just walk through the rows.
Look, shout out to my cousin, the engineer, because he makes a mean corn maze, guys. Like, for real.
So
like
does that high school kid have like a blinking light above him that they know that I'm the rescue guy? Does
No.
his shirt say rescue man?
I got to add this to my idea page. Like, rescue guy. He needs to carry a first aid kit.
Yeah.
Like one of those lifeguard fanny packs.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, my. I'm
Has
putting
like
this
a-
on the note page.
Yeah,
He
the
he
little
needs a drone that just
Gatorade
follows
water.
him out.
Just a drone. He could have a drone. Like, where are you?
There you go.
We did think about, like, true story. We thought about putting points in the maze, but then we were like, are people going to view that as like helping them and
sure.
all that? People get real touchy about it. One year, it was so hard, we thought about painting the route. And when we brought that up to customers, they were like, if you do that, we're not coming.
I think you should blindfold them, drive them in there, and then it's like an escape room.
Yeah,
For corn.
escape corn maze.
Yeah.
I like it.
It could be like a Halloween thing, almost.
Yes. You know, we used
You
to
don't have to write these things down. You can just listen to the show when it comes out. and you'd be like, hey,
That was a great idea.
If you
God,
could put that in the
that'd be
show
great.
notes for me, that would be
That's
great.
yeah, I'll talk to the show notes.
Our tractors don't have any doors, so it's hard to listen to the podcast.
It's not wrong.
You got to have the
He's
Bose
not-
canceling or whatever.
You
Now
know,
it
that
needs
was the first thing Emma said. She was like, first off, why do you have an orange tractor? And why is it every time I see an orange tractor, the doors have fallen off?
That is
Pets'
pretty
heads
funny.
are falling off.
Our pets is
Oh, man.
Oh,
Well,
Wow.
today has been an absolute blast, and thank you for spending almost your entire day with us.
it was a pleasure,
Yeah.
guys.
I wish our listeners could go on that tour with us, but it sounds like they can virtually.
They can. They sure can.
So tell people how they find you.
Okay, so I am farmer.froberg on every platform.
FROBERG. I
That's
could
right.
read it like different spots.
And if you're local or if you're vacationing in like the Houston or Galveston area, make sure to follow the farms page at Froberg's Farm, because we'll post live updates on when we have picking, when we have events. We do
Yeah,
everything
live
from
events.
live music and food trucks. You can pick your own fruit, pick flowers, all sorts of stuff. We encourage everyone to come and see us, or just come to the grocery
Yeah.
store. Come
Hundreds of
experience it.
thousands of guests a year.
Yep.
Live entertainment, including the Farm for Profit podcast.
That's right. It is technically a live show.
There we go.
Again, we're in the middle of the grocery
Yeah.
store. There are customers. I
Yeah.
just waved at one.
Yeah.
Oh.
But thank you for
Very
letting
good.
us. We did not mean to take your whole day.
No, guys, this was awesome. I don't get to talk shop a lot, so I was honored that y'all were willing to spend half the
Yeah.
day. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And I do want to say thank you for your service too.
Oh,
as well.
thank you
So
very much.
Very very proud that you did that. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, Corey, what do you want to say to the listeners?
it's a crack cold one. You deserve it.